On the 9th of February 2012, during our Supernatural Week, we posed the question, do aliens exist?
Well, debating the issue was Detective Constable Gary Heseltine, who says that he could prove in a court of law that aliens do exist, and psychologist and skeptic Professor Chris French.
Well, during that debate, a challenge was set.
When it comes to sighting, you say we have special training for sighting UFOs?
No,
that's what I'm saying.
What police officers trained to do.
Right.
I'll put you a challenge. I'll give you some evidence, and I want somebody like Chris here to explain it to me.
Well, Chris, I'd love that.
Well, let's do it. That's it. We're booked. And
Well,
here they are.
And here they are. Today we are looking at Gary's evidence from one case in particular, a case thought to be Britain's most famous UFO sighting, and one that hit the headlines at the time.
In late December 1980, a series of reported sightings of unexplained light and unidentified craft landings occurred in Rendlesham Forest, Suffolk. The two incidents took place in the vicinity of two former military bases, RAF Bentwaters and RAF Woodbridge, which at the time were being used by the American Air Force. On the 26th of December, military personnel witnessed strange lights in the forest. Thinking an aircraft might have crashed, they went to investigate. It's reported that what they found was a small triangular-shaped metal craft with strange markings. 2 days later, the deputy base commander and a small group of men witnessed other strange lights through the forest trees, including a red sun-like light which moved about and pulsed. Despite witness accounts, the MOD did not investigate any further, as they didn't believe it was a threat to national security. Well, we've got Chris and Gary with us now. Welcome back, both of you.
Thank you.
And so we're going to do this as a sort of an argument, counter-argument, and we're going to start straight away with the first sighting, the early hours of the 26th of December 1980. Military personnel at these bases saw strange lights in the forest. Tell us about that first sighting.
Initially, two men out at the East Gate observed lights just above the forest top, about 300 metres away, the length of 3 football pitches. And basically they went out to investigate. They got very spooked by it, went back on the base, reported it to the control and asked for backup. Backup arrived, 2 more people came out, and then 3 of those officers went out into the forest, where they eventually, 2 of them eventually came across the landed object.
Now you have your evidence here is the Holt memorandum. Lieutenant Colonel Charles Holt logged what the security police patrolman saw the first night and gave his memorandum to the MOD, which is dated the 13th of January 1981. And this is, and you can see when you look at the this report here, individual report is seeing a strange glowing object in the forest, object described as being metallic in appearance, triangular in shape. I'll let you leave that up for a few seconds and you can read that yourself. There you go.
So that's your bit of evidence on this. Chris, how would you counter that?
Well, we know that what caused this actual investigation in the first place was a fireball. It's a bit of natural space debris that's coming back through the Earth's atmosphere. It's very spectacular. It lasts 2 or 3 seconds, and it's very often confused for a possible plane crash. It looks a lot closer than it actually is. So that's what sparked the people to actually go into the forest in the first place.
How do you know that happened there above that?
We've got a record of that.
Right.
That was officially recorded by the British Astronomical Association at 2:50, very precisely.
How can you interrupt a triangle that is from here to where Philip is?
The triangle...
It was on the ground, he touched it, he
You're
walked
doing
around
it
it.
again. Please let me speak. I didn't let you
I'm
speak.
sorry, you can't...
The,
I'm sorry,
the,
the testimony is there.
the original sighting was of a fireball. Nobody's saying that the reports of a triangle were the same fireball. What then happened is they went into the forest, and basically what they were scared, they were confused, they didn't know the terrain. It was their first time in the forest at night, and they were mistaking the Orford Nest lighthouse for...
Well,
sorry, go on, Phil.
Only the fact that, going back to the Holt memorandum, it illuminated the entire forest with a white light, possibly a fireball, okay. The object itself had a pulsing red light on top and banks of blue lights underneath, says the witness.
This is based on the witness statements that didn't actually come out until several years later. This is what Holt's based his memorandum on. And the fact that they were reporting different colours. There's 3 different things involved here. There's the fireball. That's what makes this an intriguing case. First you've got the fireball, then you've got the mistaking of the Orford Nest lighthouse, which accounts for much of what they were seeing. And some of the objects they were seeing were just simply stars. They were tired, they'd been out there for a long time.
Military personnel
Yes, and there's many records of that. There's lots of stuff on Gary's website where they've been definitely explained as sightings of Venus, but Gary won't tell you that. Gary won't give you those links.
Let's Gary, you can come back on this one.
The whole case fundamentally bases on the Holt Memorandum. The Holt Memorandum was nothing more than a little brief, but one key thing here, let's look at... Holt went out with a team of men on that second night, 5 people. They're out there, and an object, and he describes it on the audio tape, comes towards him. It stops 1,000 to 2,000 feet above him. It then shines down a laser beam at his feet for 20 seconds. They are all in awe. He's thinking, is it a communication? Is this a weapon? He's scared, really scared. Then it goes off, and it goes off to the sky. The sceptics will say this is a flying lighthouse.
No, this is not a flying lighthouse. It's not in the Holt Memorandum. You just show me where that is.
The Holt Memorandum was...
It is not in the Holt Memorandum as he's just claimed.
No, of course it wasn't. It was a brief.
It was something that was added
to the
later. And also, isn't it slightly weird that it wasn't in the Holt Memorandum? Wouldn't you think...
He didn't want to write it, full stop.
If that had really happened, the defence implications of that are staggering. And yet Holt, after this whole episode... doesn't include that in the memorandum,
which isn't written for his career.
What about security police officer Jim Penniston, who apparently got close enough to touch the object? He said he carried out a 45-minute investigation, took plaster casts of the landing traces, which were on a tree, and he drew, and that's evidence again. He drew what he thought he saw.
The original drawing that he made on the night looks nothing like a triangular craft. It's a boxy type appearance. You can get a link to this. If you go to that's a different drawing. That's a different drawing. If you go to Ian if you go to Ian Ridpath's website, you can find all the background detail on this. And Dr. David Clarke.
Dr. David Clarke, 14 times skeptic.
Unlike Gary, they don't deal just with one side of the evidence. They
deal with
both
the facts.
sides. And they offer very convincing explanations. So, you know, in the case of these, the case by Penniston didn't actually make any claims about actually touching the craft until years and years later. And also Burroughs, who was with him at the time, says that did not happen. All they reported...
Burroughs said it didn't happen. Penniston made those claims years later.
Somebody's unreliable there, Gary. Which one is it, mate?
The bottom line is they were both very scared. They went out in the forest and they came across a landed object, something which you don't see every day. These are highly trained police officers. They saw it, they walked around it.
They were not police officers, Gary.
They were US Air Force police officers.
All right, but
Can I answer the question?
Carry on.
Right, so basically, he walked around it, he touched it, he described it as glass-like, it pulsed, there was no motors, it was triangular, he drew that in his police pocketbook. He went back to his base commander and he was scared. Who wants to say that they've seen a UFO? Because you ridicule it. Why do you think he doesn't say straight away to his commander, I've actually seen a landed craft. Oh, get out of it, you're a nutter.
Yeah.
So he played it down.
Enough.
He played it down. And then he was told, go back in daylight and see if there's any physical evidence. And he went back and he found the indentations.
Yes,
the indentations were 3 identical indentations. They were to the same depth, same size of depression. And when 2 days later Holt went out with his men, he had a Geiger counter, and it peaked right in that spot. It's not about how much it was, it's about how it spiked.
This is untrue. This is untrue. You can listen to the Holt tape.
Even Nick Pope said this.
Nick Pope knows nothing about radiation.
Who's Nick Pope? Nick Pope ran the MOD desk between 91 and 94, and even he made investigations into the radiation, said it peaked up to 7 times more.
What do you say about that?
He asked another person. He never left his desk. He never went to Rendlesham Forest. He never interviewed any of the first-hand witnesses.
He did a cold case review for the MOD.
The people that did, what Nick did was to say, basically assuming that the Holt memorandum was accurate, which it wasn't. The Geiger counter they were using, as the manufacturers have confirmed, was the wrong sort to be using for that kind of measurement. The readings that they claimed to get were the bottom, lowest kind of possible measure that they could
when they put it in the landing site,
they did not peak at the...
OK, what about...
Let's leave it there for a second, yeah.
Let's move on to the second sighting that we had.
This is Holt.
Explain this to us, yeah.
Well, Holt sighted 2 days later. He's at a military function, a Christmas party, when basically he's told the UFO is back. He goes, what's back? The UFO's back. So he gets a team of specialists. He goes out with Geiger counter, he goes out with cameras, he goes out with lighthouse, big light structures, to light up the illuminate the forest, and he went out with a star scope, which produces latent heat. Whilst he was out there, he basically, at the landing site doing the measurements, which we've just talked about, somebody says there's a light moving through the trees. Here's the key thing. The light was moving under the canopy of the forest.
So it couldn't be the light. Why didn't he take a camera who was taking all that stuff?
The photographs came out fogged, but that could maybe be down to radiation.
OK, so we just want to listen to the audio tape here, Chris, and then you can counter after that.
He was recording a live event,
Here we go.
series.
This is the audio recording from that night.
sounds out of the farmer's barnyard animals. They're very, very active, making an awful lot of noise. What is it? Don't know, sir. So can I get some more help? Yeah, it's a strange, small red light. You'll see out maybe a quarter to half mile, maybe further out. Is it back again? Yes, sir. Everything else is just deathly calm. There's no doubt about it. There's some type of strange flashing red light ahead. It's yellow. I saw a yellow tinge in it, too. Weird. It's coming this way. It is definitely coming this way. Pieces of it are shooting off. There is no doubt about it. This is weird.
There's no doubt about it that if you are out in those circumstances where you're scared, you don't know the terrain, you don't know what you're looking at, that anything that, for example, if there's a thin cloud cover passing across in front of the lighthouse, it would kind of dim it kind of gradually, and then it might appear more brightly, so it would look as if it's coming towards you or moving.
We have another audio clip here about
the lighthouse. This is crucial, because this evidence clinches the lighthouse argument.
Right on this position here, straight ahead, in between the tree. There it is again. Watch, straight ahead off my flashlight there, sir. There it is.
Yeah, I see it too.
Chris?
Now, the synchrony there between what they're actually saying and the video of the lighthouse shows, it's 5 seconds exactly, that it shows that's what they were looking at. They didn't know what they were looking at. And under those circumstances...
Philip, he took his team out for 4.5 hours into the forest. 4.5 hours?
Here it is. This is how close the lighthouse is to the forest.
And this is taken from the exact position that they would have been at, with the farmhouse that they refer to here in the foreground.
Okay.
And the lighthouse is visible from that point.
Your turn.
Right. I stood with Holt. Have you stood with Holt at the edge of that farmer's field?
No, I've been to the
I have,
farmer's field.
and I've stood at the edge of the farmer's field from this perspective, and this is a drawing he gave me. A representation. When they followed the object underneath the canopy of the trees, they got to a farmer's field. Across they see the farmhouse. I said, where is the object in relation to the farmhouse? He describes it as a 15-foot off the ground, glowing red. The farmhouse looked as if it was on fire. That is, are you sure? Where is it? To the left of the farmhouse. Can you show me where the lighthouse is?
To the
right of the farmhouse.
Right.
It was not a lighthouse. Lighthouses not come fly and stop above your head and shine a beam down at your ground. Lieutenant Colonel Holt is one of the most highly respected men ever to go on record to say he saw multiple UFOs. And if all your sceptics' arguments stand up and say that it's a flying lighthouse, then good luck to you.
Nobody has ever said it's a flying lighthouse. Nobody's ever said that all of the sightings are explicable in terms of lighthouse. A lot of it is.
10 seconds each now to wrap it up, I'm afraid.
Right, if this really were true, why did he wait 2 weeks before he actually even put in a memorandum? If he actually left when he thought we were under alien attack. He actually left when he thought that nuclear weapons were being zapped by aliens. Did he really think it was an alien invasion? No, I don't think so.
I spent 4 years working with Holt. There is a film script ready to go. It's viable. I've written it. He's worked with it. It's endorsed by him. It's an amazing story, much more complicated than what we've got in this limited time. Thank you for letting me on.
Brilliant. That's fascinating. Absolutely
really
fascinating. Thank you both.
Well
Thank you
behaved
very
as
much.
well.